Howdy. Today I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about how you can use the relative intensity chart, specifically when you're writing your programs for your athletes, as ways to help increase performance. Now, this is working with athletes. This isn't necessarily going to be doing things like bodybuilding, and this is going to be mostly tapered towards trying to increase maximal strength and general athletic performance. Now, when you're looking at the chart, what we're first trying to look at is how difficult is the training that we're trying to perform. So in the left-hand column, we're going to see where the amount of intensity we have the individual doing is at. Meaning, if you're having them do their max 100%, for one, that is truly going to be a maximal effort. If they're doing 95% of their max for two, that's going to be a 100% effort. Because it turns out that's probably the only amount of reps they're going to be able to actually perform at that percentage. Some folks might be able to do more, and some might be able to do less. But it's a good ballpark for essentially how difficult this training is going to be. And we're only going to be having them do this level of intensity when we're literally trying to test their max, seeing if they're close to where we want them to be, seeing if they're maybe not as strong as we want. Most of the training that we're trying to do is probably going to be in the medium heavy, a little bit in the heavy range, and some of it just in the medium and medium light on our deload weeks. So let's take a look at the percentages again. We're going to have someone do 90% of their max for a single. Well, that's heavy, but that's obviously going to be something that's very doable, and they're going to try to get in enough of those reps in that given percentage so that they're going to get enough volume in, a la looking at the Prilipin chart for total amount of volume when we're looking at strength and power performance. Okay, context is key here. Now, when we then go and say we're going to have them do, well, we're going to have them do a set of 10. We're only going to put 70% of their max on the bar. Well, if we go ahead and we look over the relative intensity chart, we're going to realize that 70% of your max is going to be getting to be pretty heavy for a set of 10. In fact, most people are only going to be able to do 10 reps at 75% of their max. So look at your programming and ask yourself, am I just asking the athlete to do something that's absurd, beyond the percentage of whatever they're really capable of doing? Or am I giving them enough stimulus within the total volume, looking in the Prilipin chart, and making sure that I'm progressing my program as I go through it, so we're going to be able to get them to be even stronger and perform at a higher level as they go. So always look at your program, take a look and see how it's progressing, making sure that we're not going outside of the ranges on look at the frequency of how often we should be going to those levels, and then what's the real use of having individuals go with those percentages. Now, this is if we're training off of also a true 1 rep max. If you're training off of something like a training max that say is 10% off of the training max, well, obviously that's going to throw things off along the relative intensity chart, but still make sure that we're not giving them anything that is applying too much stress to our athlete, so they're not going to be able to not just perform that set and the one subsequently, but just recover, and the idea is to get better. Anyone can train brutally hard, but getting better requires meticulous planning and appropriate programming. So, thank you guys for listening. Have a great day.